Hi everyone, my name is Brooke Blizzard and I will be presenting the moderator training. Before we get into it, I would just like to thank our moderators for everything they do. They play a very important role in the festival, and it's awesome that you all take the time out of your busy lives to read a couple books and craft some insightful questions and dedicate time on a Saturday or Sunday to present at the festival. So thanks so much, and we're so appreciative of the work you do. So here's the topics we're going to go over in this training. So first of all, we're going to start by introduction to the Tucson Festival of Books for those that aren't familiar. I'm going to cover the importance of moderators at the festival. I'll give you some information about pre-festival activities and the planning process. We'll talk about the day of the festival and what to expect, festival safety, and tips from the expert. So that'll be an experienced moderator sharing their experience with you. So the Tucson Festival of Books, as you might know, is an awesome event that takes place in Tucson every March on the University of Arizona campus. It started in 2009. We welcome over 100,000 visitors every year. And as you might know, the festival is free. It's always free. That's one of the things the Tucson Festival of Books really prides itself on. And your volunteer work helps make that possible. Additionally, proceeds from the festival are donated to local literacy programs, and the festival is organized and operated by a majority of volunteers. So I'm a volunteer, you are volunteers. The festival is really made possible by volunteers, so thank you. With the exception of about 5 paid staff, the festival is entirely volunteer run. All right, so now let's talk about moderators. So as I mentioned in the beginning, moderators are so important to the festival. So I have a couple of reasons here. So moderators are really there to act as a surrogate to the audience. They're there to ask the questions of the authors that all the audience wants to know. They're there to kind of sit in for the audience, and you want the audience to be able to see themselves in you. You really want to think about the questions you're asking to your authors and try to make them questions that will breed conversation, not just one-word answers. It's great if your questions can apply to everyone in the panel, or if you have specific questions for each author. These questions should really be emphasizing the author's new book. So that's the reason why a lot of authors come to the festival, is to promote their book. So we, of course, want to help them do that. And that's an important part of your role as a moderator. Usually, audience members are able to buy the book at the festival and get it signed. So it's just a great opportunity for authors in the audience. Additionally, it's your job to ensure that conversation's going smooth. We want to make sure that each author gets the time to speak. They're all here for the festival, and it isn't fair if we favor one over the other, even if they happen to be a more well-known author. And additionally, the moderator has an important job to thank the sponsors. Sponsors are one of the big reasons that the festival is able to remain free after all these years. So it's really important to thank them and let the audience members know who is sponsoring the panel or the event. Additionally, please let the audience know about book signing opportunities. That's one of the big reasons why individuals come to the festival, is to get their book signed by their favorite authors. So it's really important that you deliver that information clearly to the audience. And then in addition to all this, I'd say it's also important for a moderator to kind of have control of the room. You'll have assistance in this. You won't be alone. You'll always have a venue monitor as well. But just know that the mic is yours. You are the moderator of this conversation. And if audience members get out of hand, you have the authority to ask them politely to be quiet in a nice way, to please exit the stage if they're being obtrusive, and we'll go over that a little bit more when we talk about safety. Of course, it's all about the authors. So you all moderators are awesome, well-read, super smart, successful. We recognize that. But the panels are about the authors. That's who the audience came to see. So keep that in the back of your mind. This panel is not about you. It is okay to provide a brief introduction of yourself, but please keep it brief. All right, so now let's go over some information about things that take place before the festival. So moderator selection begins in late November and wraps up around early January. Following that, the moderator committee will send out a confirmation email to all moderators. If you did not receive that email, please let the moderator committee know. And if you did not confirm your participation through that email, please do so now. It might seem like a little step, but it is just important in making sure that we're, tracking all of our moderators and volunteers in general. You will have a book and author committee contact. It won't be someone from the moderator committee. They're two different sets of people. This book and author committee contact will help you get in touch with your authors and help you require your review books. So a lot of time your review copies will not be available to purchase, and you'll need help getting them through your book and author committee contact, who is the point of contact for authors and their publicists. After you receive your books, please read them. It's important that you read each author's book and you come up with insightful questions and author introductions. So in addition to presenting your questions, you will be introducing the authors in their book. So make sure you take some time to write a couple lines for a brief introduction of each author. The festival does provide short bios for all the authors. So we encourage you to pull from that or to write something inspired by your research on the author or your experience reading their book. All right, day of the festival. So this is a super exciting day, but it can be a little overwhelming, especially if you've never moderated before. So first of all, you're going to check in at author hospitality, not volunteer check-in. The location of author hospitality will be provided to you in the author confirmation email. It can change year to year, so make sure you know the latest location for the year that you're presenting. It's important to breathe. If you're a little nervous, just take some time for yourself. Breathe, calm yourself, because it's all going to be okay and it's all going to be super fun. So at author hospitality, I will mention this, there will be escorts. So if you come to author hospitality before your panel, you and your authors will be able to walk over together with an escort. So that's a great way to find your venue if you're not familiar with the U of A campus. All right, you're at your venue. Your panel's about to start. First of all, please read the introduction script provided by the Tucson Festival of Books. I say this, I emphasize this. This is really important. Like I said previously, sponsors are what help keep the festival free. And so we really want to thank them. The script, as I said, will be provided to you by the festival. You do not have to write this script. You don't have to worry about this script. It will be right in front of you with all the words you need to say. If you want an example of that script, there should be one in the moderator handbook. But as I said, you don't need to fill it in. We will fill it in for you. After that, introduce your authors. So as I said, be prepared with a couple author introductions, about 30 to 60 seconds each author. We don't want this portion to take up a lot of time in the panel, but it is still important. Make sure you're listening and reacting during your panel. If there is a need for a follow-up question, please take advantage of that opportunity. If you notice that one of your authors isn't receiving a lot of time to speak, loop them in, get them back involved in the conversation. So make sure you're staying observant. And then in the last 5 to 10 minutes, you'll have time for some audience Q&A. So this can be a fun part to get the audience involved in everything. we'll kind of go over a little bit more about audience Q&A and decorum in a second. When Q&A ends, you're going to read the closing script. Again, like the intro script, this will all be filled in and provided to you by the festival. The closing script has information about where book signings will be. So again, it's really important. The audience wants to know that information, so please provide it to them. And after that, unless you have another panel, you're done and you can enjoy the festival. All right, I want to talk about safety at the festival. There have been some changes this year. So going forward, the Tucson Festival of Books has adopted the UA Clear Bag policy. So there's some information about this on the slide. This applies to festival goers, authors, and moderators. So please keep in mind that you have to follow these clear bag policies or you will not be allowed in venues. There might be limited storage in author hospitality, but I encourage you not to rely upon that. There's going to be priorities for authors to store their things in author hospitality because they might be traveling or flying out right after the festival. So don't count on that and just get a clear bag and make sure that you're good to go for the festival so that there are no issues or snags. All right, let's go over some more safety information. I wanted to talk about how to handle yourself in situations that might be a little tricky, at like protesters or loud and sensitive individuals in the audience. So as the moderator, like I said, you have the mic. So you are able to address the person causing the disturbance, and you should do so briefly and calmly. It is not the objective to make a scene or to aggravate the protester further. You are able to direct protests to a space where they can continue to express their message without interrupting the panel. So there's certain free speech areas, First Amendment protected areas at the university. So that's somewhere that they can go to express their opinion freely. Some examples of things you might say to a loud audience member or disruptive audience member. You've had your turn to speak and it's time for our program to continue. So tone's important. Make sure you're not, being too aggravating with your tone. Like I said, we don't want this to turn into a scene. You could say, "You're welcome to express your message. We just need you to do so outside so the scheduled programming may continue. Thank you." So that's all you have to say. It's important to be clear and firm, but still polite. And we don't want to be stifling free speech. That's something that the university cares deeply about, is protecting free speech and having areas where that's allowed. So we don't want to minimize their free speech, just distractions. So we don't want there to be distractions in the audience because it's just not fair to the other audience members and the authors who came to present their books. All right, so even if they're kind of asking a question maybe you wouldn't ask or you find a little insensitive, that doesn't make them disruptive in and of itself, So only ask them to leave if they are truly disruptive and not observing protocol that allows the event to continue. So if problems keep happening, there'll be a venue monitor. The venue monitor should be asked to contact the incident command team, and then someone trained to handle these situations will come to the venue. So don't worry, you're not alone in your venue. There are many resources and others there to support you in case something truly offensive and disruptive happens. And of course, if there are life-threatening situations, call 911. All right, that's all I have for you all today. Now we're going to hear from an experienced moderator about their experience moderating in the festival. So take it away.
My name's David Bodney, and I'm here to offer you tips for moderating a successful panel. And I've tried to simplify them to three that will come rather naturally to you. The first is be prepared. The second is pay attention. And the third, be moderate. So, what do we mean by these three prescriptions? I'll offer a few details. First, be prepared. That will involve doing some reading, writing, and researching before your panel. Before the festival, be sure to read your author's books and learn a few interesting facts about their lives for your introduction of the panelists. Before the festival, draft a good mix of questions for an entertaining panel. Before the festival, be sure to read the moderator's handbook for a grasp of the details you'll need to know to get yourself situated. Before the panel, know where to go and make sure that your authors do too. It's so important to show up and show up on time. Get there early. That's be prepared. What about pay attention? Well, this is at the panel. Read your panel. Engage each panelist so no one author dominates the conversation. And then listen to their answers so that you can then be flexible. You can ask follow-up questions based on certain answers the authors gave you that you just may not have expected. Read your room and pay attention to stirrings, rumblings, or any other unanticipated development so you can stay on top of the situation. That's part of your role as the moderator too. So be prepared, pay attention, and last, be moderate. Remember, the audience is there to hear the authors, not you. Facilitate a lively exchange of the author's views, not theirs. Showcase the authors. You can say a few kind words about the sponsors, but it's not about us, the moderators. We are not talk show hosts. Showcase them. Moderate the discussion. It's a bit like a well-functioning thermostat. When things get a little cold or slow, turn it up a notch or two. And if the conversation gets just a little bit too heated, it's your role as the moderator to just then bring the temperature down when things get too hot. So be prepared, pay attention, be moderate, and have fun. Thank you.
Yay!